Okay, all right. So before we go into the third form, which is standard form, I want to take one lesson today to talk about how to find an equation if I only give you 2 points. Okay, what would that look like? Because that's on the regions. And then secondly, on the next lesson tomorrow, we're going to review actually what we've learned so far with the two forms. Okay. And yeah, so and then afterwards on the third day, we will go ahead and do some standard form questions. Okay. All right. So let's go. Okay, all right. So this is what we've done so far. So far, we have looked at slope-intercept form. So that's number one. Okay, and then for the past couple of days, we talked about the point-slope form. That's two, right? So before we go on to standard form, which looks something like this, right? Let's take 2 steps back. Not really. It's not really taking 2 steps back. But I want to use today, all right, to talk about how to find an equation of a line given 2 points. And then using a day from class, or even 2 days actually. I think it's worth spending 2 days in class with you guys when you guys are in here practicing. Okay, so I think that's going to be immensely valuable. So, okay, now, so write this down, right? How do you find an equation of a line given 2 points? So because this is what you've been given so far, right? If I give you a table of values, can you give me a, actually, look, let's go back. All right, let's talk about what we've done so far, where we've been and where we're going, okay? So far, right, we talked about if I give you a line, can you give me the equation, right? Like these practices. Second is if I give you a table, can you give me an equation? And then if I give you a point and the slope, can you give me an equation? All right, so I think you kind of see where this is going, right? I give you all those things. I give you a graph. Can you give me an equation? I give you a table of values. Can you give me an equation? I give you a point and a slope. Can you give me an equation? So today we're practically down to the ultimate, right? Last one, right? Which is if I just give you 2 straight points, can you give me the equation? Okay, now there are 2 ways of going about it, okay, as usual. One of the first ways is you can graph it, right? You can graph these 2 points, right? I mean, obviously, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then -5, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you can connect the points, right? So let's see. Does that mean, oh yeah, perfect. All right, right? And then you can give me the equation. Now, could this be a little bit off, like right here, where the y-intercept? Possibly, but let's check it out, okay? So here, now, what would be the equation? So let's make a conjecture, all right? So knowing that, now, first of all, you need to know the slope. So let's count the slope. Why not, right? So I'm gonna count. Let me use a red dotted line. How about that? All right. Thin dotted red line. All right, so let's see, rise over run. So let's see, rise is, now it's a positive slope, so rise was 1, 2, 3, 4. So rise is 4. And what's the run? The run is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the run is 10. Right, so to the right 10, up 4. So rise over run. So the slope is rise over run, all right? You see how many times I have to say that? Okay, hold on, I'm gonna close the windows real quick because there's construction going on behind me for some reason. All right, it's kind of early for construction. No, it's like 7:47 a.m. Okay, all right, so let's see. I'm just double checking, it's so early, I don't want to make a mistake. Let's see, rise, yeah, okay, all right, so that's 2/5, right? Now, what's the y-intercept? looks like it's at 2, right? I'm not 100% sure because graphing like that, right? It should be. Okay, let's think about it like that, right? So, and then we can construct the equation, right? Y equals to mx plus b, so 2/5 x plus 2. Now, let's see if this holds up, okay? So let me use a different, so here's the second way of doing it, right? As you can probably tell. You can solve it. So meaning, you calculate the slope, right, using these 2 points. So watch this, all right? So this is the main lesson for today, all right? So we find the slope. Let's see, I'll just do y2 minus y1. So let's say 0 minus 4, and then -5 minus 5. -4 over -10, yeah, that's 2/5. No surprise there, right? Now, looking at this, right, think about this, right? Here I got a slope. All right, I want you to think about this. Yeah, I want you to think about this real good. If I have the slope already, how do I find the equation of this line? Think about that. All right, if you want to press pause, you can press pause and think about how would you find the equation of a line. I mean, think about all the stuff you know so far, right? So if I give you a line, you're able to find the equation. If I gave you a table, you can find the equation. If I gave you a slope and a point, hint, hint. If I gave you a slope and a point, hint, hint, right, then you can find the equation, right? So what do you think? Yeah, so basically you just pick one of these points and then you use the point slope form. Got that? All right, I'll repeat. You pick since we have the slope and we have a point here, right? Doesn't matter which point because all we need is 1. You can find the equation using the point slope form. Okay, so check this out. So now let me use a different code. Maybe not, all right. So, right, so for example then, y equals to mx plus b, right? Again, let's do it. So I'll use this point. So 0 equals to 2/5 x in this case is -5 plus b. Now, again, you can use the other point here. That's fine too. I just like this point because there's a 0. Okay, I like working with zeros, but I don't like working with negatives, but that's fine. All right, so let's see, where am I? Yeah, okay, so 0, so these cancels out 1, except I have a -1 here, so that's 2 times -1, so that's -2 plus b, so b is +2. Oh, look, voila. Y equals to m x plus b. Oh, good. They're the same equation, okay? That's fantastic. Okay, so that's how you do it. All right, that's how you do these questions. So let's try one more, and then I'm just gonna let you practice. Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, 5 questions, perfect. Okay, all right, it's gonna be the perfect length for a lesson. All right, let's see. Now, which equation? Okay, yeah, so we'll just do that. Okay, so same thing, all right? So remember what I said. Step 1, you find the slope. All right, so the slope in this case is 10 minus -2, 3 minus -1. That's 12 over 4, that's 3. All right, now look at this. I can already eliminate 4 and 3. I mean, now your odds are as good as a coin toss, okay? So let's see, what's the next step? Use the point slope form. So the point slope form says you substitute, so y equals to mx plus b. I substitute, I'm just gonna use the second point because I don't see any negatives, okay? That's all. So 10 equals to, what's the slope again? 3 times 3 plus b, right? Nothing crazy here. 10 equals 9 plus b, b equals 1. So what's the third step? I need the equation. Y equals to slope x plus b, which is 1. That's it. Which one is that? There you go. That's how you do it, okay? All right? Not bad, right? So you see how we are progressing here? So you see why we had to know the point slope form in the past 2 days, in order for you to be able to do this. And that before point slope, you know how you have to know the slope intercept form in order for, so it's a whole progression, right? We went from slope intercept, right? Went from slope intercept to point slope, and now we can solve these questions with 2 points, right? So you see how everything is coming together, right? So, okay, great. Now, try these 5, all right? Nothing crazy, just good old practice. Again, there really aren't, I want to save the Regents questions for later, okay? Because I want you to be able to pick out what you're supposed to be doing. How should I say it? I want you to be able to pick out like the strategy on your own when all the questions are presented to you. Because on the Regents, they're not gonna give you questions by topic. You know what I'm saying? Like not in an order, right? So having said that, try these 5, and then when you come back, I'll show you the answer key, okay? So press pause right now. Okay, all right, so the only thing I want to add here is that with these questions, 2 things. One is always pick the easier point. Now, number 1 is interesting because 0, 3, that in itself is the y-intercept, right? Because when x is 0, right, let me graph it for you real quick. When x is 0, y is 3. So that's this point right here, right? So that's the y-intercept already, okay? But you don't always get that lucky, okay? All right. The second thing I want to point out is that you have to, when you do what I realize, for me at least, is when I do these questions, when I calculate the slope, I have to be extra careful because there's just so many negatives and all that, okay? So always be very extra careful because otherwise you're just tripping yourself up. And then you wonder why, like, your answer, you either get it wrong or your equation doesn't match the choices, okay? And the third thing is always pick on the easier point. So like for here, I picked this. For this question, I picked this one. For this question, I picked this point. For this question, I picked this point. And then this one, there were just no good choices, so I just picked a smaller number, okay? And then careful with the negatives and the positives when you multiply, you know. Same old, all right? Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna sign off here. Thanks for watching, and have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
OMG, that was so good.